Okay. So just let me recap the last session. So in the last session, completely we have discussed about the resource breakdown structure, then how it will help us towards the PPM module, and how to create this RBS and how to add the resources with this RBS, and what are the resource formats are available for each resource format, how we are going to assign the resources. And this is how we have seen in yesterday's session. Coming to today's session, more or less, so we are going to talk about the project plan type. Okay, project plan type, and which is comes under the module called project controls. Okay, project control. Project plan type. Yesterday I told you like RBS, which I can use for my project planning and budgeting. Now, in a today's session, I can say like I can use this project plan type for my project planning only. Okay, I'll tell you the differentiation. Okay, how RBS will be helpful in project planning, and how the project plan type will helpful in the project planning. Okay, so from my side, there is a project. There is a project which is like the software project. Okay, so one. The ERP implementation. ERP implementation. Okay. So when this project is started, and this project which will have a couple of phases, and we are going to treat every phase as a one particular task under this project. Okay. Now the first task is something like the designing phase, and the second task is the development phase, and third one is some testing phase, and the fourth one is some UAT phase, and fifth one is cutover, and the sixth one is go live, and the seventh one is post production support. Post production support. Okay, in each and every implementation project in the Oracle application, so which will follow these phases. Okay, we have to work as a consultant. We should be in a position to work on the designing phase or development, testing, UAT. So in the designing phase, there are some the experts in the company. They will work on the designing phase, and once the requirements are done, they will hand over the system. They will hand over one requirements document into the consultant. From there, the consultant will lead the remaining portion like the development, testing, the UAT, which will be done by the users from the business side. Okay, so the remaining activities, and as a consultant, we should be take care of all the activities. Okay. For example, in the designing phase, I'm assigning the few resources. As a project manager, I know in order to fulfill this designing phase, so how many resources I need, and what are the resources I need to map for this particular task. Okay. Now I'm assigning the resources like Fayas, Ranganath, Veera. Okay. Then total three resources we have assigned. Okay. Total four resources I have assigned in order to fulfill this designing phase. Okay. Now, so the start date, there should be a start date and end date for this particular task. Okay. Start date and finish date. Start date and finish date. Okay. Now, this particular task is starting on January 1st, 2024, and ending date is 31st December 2024. Okay, these are the start dates and end dates to finish this designing phase by these employees. Okay, as a project manager, I planned this is a start date and this is an end date for the completion of this particular task under this particular project. Okay. Also, for each and every resource, I am planning. So for Fayaz, I am planning 100 hours. 100 hours I am planning. to fulfill this designing phase. For Ranganath, I am planning 200 hours. For Veera, I am planning 150 hours. For Priyanka, I am planning 100 hours. That means these are the planned efforts. These are the planned efforts. Okay. End of the day, if these resources are working for this particular project in a combination with this particular task, every day these employees are working for 8 hours. That means weekly 5 working days, 5 working days, every day 8 hours. That means 5 into 8 hours. That means 40 hours in a week. Monthly, we have a 4 weeks, which is multiplied with a 40 hours in a week, 160 hours in a month. 160 hours in a month. Okay. So because of these employees are working for this particular task, that is the reason these employees are able to enter the time sheets. Okay. So that is comes under the actuals. That is comes under the actuals. Okay. Now, as a project manager, I have planned these many number of hours. These many number of hours. Okay, these planned efforts are in the form of hours. In the form of hours. Now, within the PPM, I'm going to maintain. I'm going to maintain a hourly rate of every employee. If my company is having 1,000 employees strength, every employee should have a cost rate and the bill rate. Okay, cost rate is in hourly and the bill rate is also in hourly. Okay, so based on the cost rate, the company will give us a salary for us, and based on the bill rate, the company will get the amount from the customer on behalf of you. Okay, that is what the differentiation between the cost rate and the bill rate. Okay, I'll give you the example also, don't worry. So for this, somewhere I have to maintain the cost rates of the employees in the form of hours. Okay, simply like employee cost rates. Okay, employee cost rates, which is in the form of hourly basis. What is the cost rate hourly? Okay, for 5 hours, 2000 is the hourly rate. Okay, for Ranganatha, 3000 is the hourly rate. For Veera, 1500 is the hourly rate. For Priyanka, 1000 is the hourly rate. Okay, so these are the rates the company will fix. Okay, when you join in a company, the company will fix the cost rate based on your package. Based on your package. Okay. So this is the hourly rate. This is the hourly rate. Okay. Now, when it comes to this, how many number of hours I have planned for 5 hours? 100, which is multiplied with what is the cost rate of a 5 hours? 2000. So if I calculate 100, which is multiplied with a 2000, I'll get a 2 lakhs rupees. That means this 2 lakhs rupees will be the budget for the completion of this designing phase by the 5 hours. Okay, this is what the planning budget which the system is calculating. Okay, this is what the budget. If I apply the same formula for the remaining employees, and 6 lakhs is the budget for Ranganath, and 2 lakhs 25,000 rupees is the budget for Veera, and 1 lakh is the budget for Priyanka. Okay, so during the 1 year of period, starting from January 1st to December 31st, 2024. Okay, based on your packages only, these cost rates will be decided by the company, and in the company, if PPM is implemented, and they are going to maintain these rates in the PPM application. Okay, then how to maintain, that's a different story. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Okay, so this is what the budget. So sometimes so the users are entering the timesheet. For example, so here what happens is so this week the Fayaz has worked for the 40 hours, and everybody has worked for the 40 hours. Okay, 40 hours. Now, when it comes to here, this is a 40 hours which is multiplied with the, what is the cost rate? 2000 for 5 hours. If I apply the same formula here, what happens? So these are the figures. Okay. So now these employees are entered the timesheet for 40 hours only for 1 week. Okay. So only for 1 week, the system has calculated these many hours. Okay. Now these are the number of hours. Okay. Actual hours. Okay. Next, this is comes under the actual cost. Okay. If I plan my project going forward, when project is started and the people are started working on the project, that means every day they are going to work for the 8 hours and they'll submit the timesheet for 40 hours in a week. That means automatically the system will calculate the 40 hours, which is multiplied with the cost rate of the employee, which is comes under the actual cost. Okay. So these type of actual cost also will be, if you wanted to display in the project planning, this whole piece is comes under the project planning only. This whole piece is comes under the project planning. Here, I have planned to finish this designing phase during this period. I have planned these many efforts for all these employees. I have planned these employees in order to complete this particular phase. I have segregated the project into the multiple tasks, and this is how I can segregate. Okay, if you wanted to do this kind of this type of a planning, and we need to take the help of this project plan type. Project plan type. As soon as you enter the time sheets, and the system will calculate your number of hours multiplied with the cost rate of the employees, and that also you wanted to see in your project planning, and we have a certain programs which will update your actuals in the project planning. Okay, so this is comes under the project planning, and if you wanted to do this type of a project planning, and better to take the help of a project plan type. Project plan type is a setup which I can use to configure, which I can use to configure in order to do this type of project planning. Okay, so any questions? Yeah. So,
Sir,
yeah,
sir, I have a question.
yes.
Who will design this project phase?
Okay.
Solution architect will come into picture, or
No. The project manager will take care of this.
okay,
The project manager will take care of this. Okay. Project manager will get an access to this, and they can able to plan, they can able to create it, they can able to uh, plan the project like this.
okay.
Okay. Now the project plan type, which is comes under the project control, right? Now, when it goes to the system, now we are in the setup and maintenance, project financial management. If you come down, there is a functional area called project control. If I click on the project control, and the maximum only two setups I can see. One is for the project plan type, another one is for the financial plan type. Project plan type, which I can use for project planning, and the financial plan type, which I can use for the project specific budgets and the forecast. Okay, that I'll discuss later. So currently we should focus on the manage project plan types. Manage project plan types. Okay. So these are the standard ones. As part of this demo instance, the Oracle itself has given these the seeded project plan types. If we want, we can take the help of these project plan types for your project planning. Otherwise, if we want, we can create our own project plan types, and that I can use for my project planning. Okay. In this particular screen, the plus is referring to the creation of a project plan type. Okay. So sometimes if you wanted to know more about the project plan types, and here itself there is a help icon. There is a question mark, right? If you click on this help icon, what happens? The system will display some theoretical information So what is the project plan type and what are the examples and how to create the financial plan type. So something about the system will give us some information, something about this particular setup. And this feature is applicable for all the setups, not only for the project plan types. Okay. Now let me click on the plus. Let me click on the plus. And here we wanted to provide the information in the couple of tabs. Okay. Then how to provide the information in the project plan type, that is what we wanted to discuss. So every day it is repeating. We'll get the new instance today. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Now on the top, you can see I wanted to provide the name USA PPT, like a project plan type. In the description, I can provide the description like a project USA project plan type. And this is the starting on the standard date I'm giving, and there is no restriction on giving the today's date as well. Okay. So what is the problem with giving the today's date is sometimes I wanted to upload last 2 years projects or 3 years projects. I wanted to upload the historical projects in the PPM application. Okay. So there may be a problem with this current date. That is the reason we used to follow the standard date like the 1/1/1951. Okay. Now, when it comes to the setup option, so use third-party software for the scheduling. Use third-party software for the scheduling. Okay. Now, if we go to the system, we have other vendors like MS Projects. Okay, where I can go under to the project planning and scheduling, where I can go to the project planning and scheduling. Okay. Also, I'll go to other vendor. MS Projects is from the Microsoft. Okay. Also, I'll go to the other vendor like a Primavera. Primavera itself is a product. Okay. Primavera, where I can go and do the project planning. Okay. What type of planning I have discussed here, the same type of planning, if I go with MS Projects or Primavera, I can do. Okay. Also, I can do the scheduling. I can do the scheduling. Okay. So there are a certain cases. There are a certain cases like the customer requires the MS projects or a Primavera tool where they wanted to do the project planning. Once they do the project planning in the MS projects or Primavera, later the project planning they wanted to bring from these tools into the PPM. These are tools into the PPM. Like this is a PPM. Now I wanted to bring my project planning from MS projects into the PPM. Otherwise, I wanted to bring my project planning from Primavera into the uh, PPM, Okay. Here MS projects are Primavera, which I used to call as a third party application. I am working for Oracle. Other than Oracle, anything I can assume as a third party application only. If you are working for Microsoft, other than Microsoft, anything you can treat as any other product you can treat as a third party application itself. Okay. So this is how it is. So if I wanted to do my planning in any third party application, so from there I wanted to import into the PPM and I have to enable this particular checkbox. I have to enable this particular checkbox, but we don't want to do the planning outside. Later I wanted to import it into the PPM. Directly we are doing the planning in the PPM itself. That is the reason I don't want to enable this particular checkbox. Okay. Now, the second one, enable planning in the multiple currencies. Enable planning in the multiple currencies. Okay. Now here I have planned this many number of hours for these employees. Okay, and these figures are in the USD. These figures are these planning amounts are in the USD. The same planning amounts I wanted to see in the INR. The same planning amounts I wanted to see in AED, etc., etc. Okay, if that is the case, and we have to enable this particular checkbox, enable planning in the multiple transaction currencies. Okay, so in the planning screen itself you can see your budgets and actuals in the different currencies like USD, INR, AED and Singapore dollars, etc. Okay, so if you wanted to see it in the multiple currencies, and then we can enable it. Otherwise if you are implementing the PPM application only for one country, then what is the need of enabling this option? Because every transaction and every planning amount which will be in the single currency only, correct? That is the reason. So if you have a business in the multiple countries, and if you wanted to see your planning amounts in the different currencies, then you can go with this option, enable planning in the multiple currencies. Okay. Now, the planning options, very, very important planning options. Now, I go with the set assignments. Starting from the day one, at the time of business unit, we have used the reference set as a US1 BU set. The same reference set is we can associate here because we are creating a projects. We are creating a projects for USA business unit. We are doing the project plan in a USA business unit. Okay. So for USA business unit, what reference set is associated? For the same reference set, I can associate in the project plan type so that I can use this project plan type for my project planning in a USA business unit. Okay. Now, if I click on the plus symbol and here there is a provision to add the reference set. Okay. So US1, US1, US1 BU set. And the next tab is plan settings. Okay. So how you wanted to do your planning? In the planning, what type of columns you are going to see to enter the data, like the number of efforts or the cost rate of the employees or currency, etc., etc. Just give me 1 second. No? So still it is rotating, right? If I click on the down arrow, mm, what happened? What happened? Okay. In yesterday session or day before yesterday session or something. See, these are the list of setups. Starting from the day one, we have completed these setups. And additionally, here we wanted to write the RVS, which is from the PPM side. Okay. You go with the manage planning and building resource breakdown, breakdown structures. Okay. Which is also completed. Now we are in the project plan. Now we are in the project plan type. Okay, PPM, and for this we may go with the project plan types. Okay, it is not yet completed, and there are certain cases. Okay, where if I go to the if I go to the project creation, if I wanted to create a project, what are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisite setups required? That I'll tell you. if I wanted to enter the transactions, what setups are required, that I
Okay.
okay. So if I start today, I wanted to start the transaction entry. That means what setups are required for the transaction entry that I'll discuss before I start the transaction entry, and then we'll jump into the transaction entry. Okay. So
Okay.
similarly for budgets. So if I wanted to enter the budget for my project, and if I wanted to enter the forecast for my project, and there is a prerequisite setups are required. I'll tell you the setups, and then I'll jumping into the budget and forecast. Okay. So the basic configuration, whatever we are doing now, that is the basic configuration. Maybe in one or two sessions, so the basic configuration which will be done. Later we'll jump into the project. Okay. Later we'll jump into the budgets and forecast, and later we'll jump into the cost entry. That means, so we'll have a next within a next 2 to 3 days, so we'll jump into the process side. The complete list is available here, Sai,
Okay.
in a
Yeah.
sequence only, in a sequence.
Yeah. The sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. As it is, by seeing this Excel sheet, if you start doing the setups, and it will take only half an hour.
Hmm.
Okay. Nothing to do with accounting periods and project accounting periods and statuses of your project. Okay. So you have to create a business unit and enable the PPM options, and you define the organizations and convert the departments as organizations, and you can create an organization tree and run this program, and nothing to do with this. And we have to go with the configure project accounting, and this is we can do, and this is we can do, and this is we can do, and nothing to do with this, and this is we can do. Either which one you wanted to follow, either manual or an automatic. It takes only half an hour. Okay. There are many expenditure categories and the revenue categories and the expenditure types also available. If I wanted to create our own setup data, and we have to do these as well. And RBS we can create, and project to plan type also we can create.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see.
Let's say if instance is not working, then it is fine. We'll cover tomorrow.
Okay, we'll wind up the session today, and we'll continue tomorrow. Maximum we'll get the new instance tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.